Welcome to Oilers Nation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
Wow, Leon Draisaitl scored and the Oilers are going to win the game 4-1. Let's go to his dad, Peter, for a reaction. Let's get into it with the lead. Could it kill you to smile? All the other dads are like drunk as shit and like clapping and cheering and being like, yeah. And Peter Draisaitl just stares. He wasn't even looking at the ice, I don't think. Just staring straight across. Anyways, Oilers win. They kick up the dad's trip with a W. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online at sportscloset.ca. Show is also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. And listen, you're supposed to bet responsibly. You're supposed to not believe in things like locks and all of that. But if the Oilers are in their cream jerseys, it's free money. Again, not supposed to say that, but like, come on, 5-0 in the creams, Liam.
Are they're creaming tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think they brought two sets of jerseys on the road.
Are you sure? I think they might be. Although Nashville would be a hard team to cream against. Them being yellow.
Oh, boys be creaming tonight.
They're creaming. Interesting.
All right, okay, 6.
Those colors will be... They'll clash.
That's what I mean. That's why I thought they wouldn't, because Nashville doesn't have alternates to like go against it. Yellow and cream in the same game will be a little messed up.
Yeah, Aaron, do you think we could get a side-by-side of that? Thanks. Yeah, creaming in Nashville. All been there.
Who among us? Yeah, they are wearing the cream. Cream dream for the Edmonton Oilers. They'll look to win a second straight game and improve to 6-0 in their alternates. On the heels of a 4-1 win over the Chicago Blackhawks, we have a loaded show coming your way. First off, roster moves. Yesterday, Quinn Hudson signs an extension after our show.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. Jake Wallman, activated off LTIR. He's back. Tristan Jarry, activated off LTIR. I think we can presume he's back, because why would you activate him off LTIR if you're not going to play him? So the Oilers are getting some reinforcements. They have a new extension for Quinn Hudson, and they're coming off a win. Darren Pang, I don't know if you caught this on the broadcast last night. He was between the benches for that game. He works on the Chicago Blackhawks broadcast, also works for TNT. He is also just a hell of a guy.
Yeah, a lot of personality. I don't know him, but...
I had him on DFO Live a month ago because Hutz obviously knows him from his time in Nashville and Chicago. And I texted Darren today, and I was like, hey, had you on my DFO show a couple weeks ago. Like, would you be interested in popping on my Oilers show today? Text me back immediately. Yep, I'm in. What's your co-host name? All that stuff. He's the man. He's going to join us because he had an up-close view of that game last night, and a game that turned into a sneaky goalie duel as well, which is another great reason to have Darren on the program. Pete Blackburn coming up at 1 o'clock. He's going to join us and talk about some pretty stunning news outside of Edmonton in the NHL. Dean Evason, fired by the Columbus Blue Jackets. We finally, on January 13th, have our first coaching change of the year, Liam.
My prediction for that was Travis Green, though. So I honestly, probably not too far away from that one either.
The reason I will disagree with you on the Travis Green front, and we'll ask Pete who he thinks the next coach fired could be. Travis Green is in year 2 of a 4-year contract. I don't think an organization like the Ottawa Senators is going to put up their hand and say, we'll pay you for 2.5 years to not coach.
So the Oakland Raiders, they're not called that anymore, are they? Vegas. They are currently paying, I believe it's 5 head coaches, and they don't have a head coach in place right now.
Isn't John Gruden still getting like $10 million a year from them?
I think so. It's like, I don't know all of them. Like that Tony and Pierce fella, McDaniels, Gruden, whoever the rest of the other bums are. But yeah, it's a good point on the Sens, actually. It would have had to get probably historically bad for them to have fired Travis Green, the more I think about it.
Yeah, you would probably need like some sort of crazy once-a-year scandal to hit your locker room. Then if your organization handles it really poorly, all while you slide down the standings and don't have a first-round pick because you forfeit it for breaking no-trade clause rules. If all of that happened, I'd be like, damn, you should probably fire someone. But the Sens are probably good for now. When you put it that way, hey?
Yeah, when you lay it out like that on the bed, it seems pretty clear what they should have done, and that I should have won my prediction.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah,
losing another prediction.
Has a prediction ever aged like good quickly more than my one Ontario team will trade their captain by this time next year?
That was a pretty quick. We could just say Brady Tkachuk is traded.
Yeah, Brady Tkachuk's probably not going to be a Senator.
Great goal from Matthews yesterday. That was sick. And then a celebration, too, going by the benches and just getting flipped off.
Breaking NFL news.
Oh.
You want to take a guess?
Give me the team. Oh, Mike Tomlin fired?
Mike Tomlin stepping down. Wink.
Stepping down, but stepping up?
No, just stepping down and leaving the organization via Adam Schefter.
Probably a good call.
Yep.
I mean,
19 years as a head coach.
hell of a run. One Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls.
One Super Bowl.
2 appearances.
Never finished below 500.
Yeah, it's a hell of a run. Hell of a run.
That's crazy. Harbaugh.
Yeah,
Tomlin,
wow. What a change.
I wonder if Tomlin's going to resurface next year, if he's one of those guys that kind of goes like, hey, year off, and I'll recirculate next year maybe when like...
I don't know if I would...
I don't know if I'd want him either.
I don't know if I'd want him as a head coach.
Yesterday, when it was like 4th and 8 in the fourth quarter...
What if the Raiders take him?
That's probably an organization who wouldn't mind going 500 every year.
And they like just getting the name.
Yeah, and you'll get Mendoza.
The name, yeah.
But yesterday, when it was 4th and 8 and he punted with like 9 minutes left, down 2 scores, I was like, yeah, baby, that's Mike Tomlin football. Anyways, you all don't want to hear us talk about that. You want to hear us talk about the hockey game last night. Our post-game recaps are brought to you by Derek Dodge. This is the beginning of a new chapter for Derek Dodge. Not only are they under new ownership, bringing a fresh approach, new energy, and a renewed focus on customer experience right now, they have an unbeatable deal. With every new vehicle purchase, you will receive a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. That's not a chance to win a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. That is a trip for 2 to Las Vegas. Leave the lot with your new vehicle, and flights and accommodations for a trip for 2 to Vegas is on Derek Dodge. That is tough to beat. Visit them in person, 6211 104th Street Northwest, or online at derekdodge.com. The Edmonton Oilers go into a game against the Chicago Blackhawks, and it was supposed to be Connor Fest. But then Connor Bedard was too sick to play. The Hawks have been ravaged by a flu bug.
Yeah, they were talking about it on the broadcast. Past like 4 or 5 games if a guy's missing. Right?
One of their players, I don't think it was Spencer Knight, it was someone else, said they lost 8 pounds in 48 hours. They were so sick.
Damn.
What's a guy got to do to get that flu bug? Anyways, illness is very serious. And it bit the Chicago Blackhawks last night. Can I tell you something I did?
Please.
The second I saw the tweet from Elliot Friedman saying Connor Bedard is sick and won't play tonight, I went and put money on the Oilers to win on the puck line. And for a while, that looked like a pretty smart move because the first 20 minutes of that hockey game consisted of the Oilers playing their usual smothering offensive style of attack where they were just all over the Blackhawks, and Chicago coughed up a ton of pucks that allowed the Oilers to continue to pour on the pressure. Like it was all Edmonton early in that game, and they finally made it 1-0. Let's go to the film board and take a peek. Oilers go up 1-0. Connor McDavid, beautiful pass to Evan Bouchard. And you want to talk about elite net front play? Zach Hyman, and maybe we can get a stoppage like right on him when he's tied up in front. Vlasic plays this perfectly if it's pretty much any NHLer not named Zach Hyman, who's smart enough to, while he's tied up, put his stick through Vlasic's legs and give Bouchard an opportunity to find him. Like, unbelievable stuff. That is just from the cheeky little pass by McDavid to Bouchard carrying it in and seeing that lane to Hyman's net front play. That is three players showcasing their individual elite skill sets and combining for a goal. It's unbelievable.
Oilers got a lot of greasy goals last night.
Yeah, they did.
All of them really were like based off, I would say, a bit of effort for the most part. But I really like this goal. Obviously, it felt like every time the Oilers had a shot on goal, it should have gone in the first period. And honestly, it felt the same the other way too.
Spencer Knight was unbelievable.
Both goals were incredible the entire game. So credit to them for that. But I also love like the Oilers. The Oilers didn't give up. You know what I mean? Like they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And it was a really solid effort in the first period. And I just thought it was so encouraging that it wasn't just McDavid's line. It was all of them.
Yeah.
Like every line had a great chance. Lazar, Savoy had great chances. Kapanen had a couple of really good chances. I think Roslovic had one too. So, yeah, it was an impressive offensive display considering they scored once in the first and then basically immediately in the second.
Yeah. So they go up 1-0. Second period kicks off. 14 seconds into the period, Evan Bouchard, this clip starts with him at the blue line. And again, like just a truly elite hockey player who is able to follow the path of the play. Like not only does he start it, but then he knows where to go to follow up. It's 2-0 Oilers. McDavid gets his second assist of the night. The point streak, by the way, up to 19 games. And look at Bouch, like banking it in off Spencer Knight. Like as much as you can sit there and on the surface, that's a fluke. Evan Bouchard knows he's not on his post. Like, Bouch knows what he's doing there. Another great goal by, again, McDavid. Nuge made a good play, but McDavid and Bouchard really carrying the mail offensively.
Yeah, they really did. And I thought Bouchard has been quite impressive the past, honestly, for a while now. He's only really had one mistake, which was, I can't remember what game that was, but puck ended up putting back in at Buffalo. He 100% intended to do this. And again, like, the Chicago Blackhawks top pairing isn't obviously like an elite top pairing. I don't think they're a pair of bums either by any means. They're a good pairing. And they were on the ice for this goal against again.
With Evan Bouchard on the ice last night, the Edmonton Oilers, this is 5-on-5 only, outshot the Blackhawks 15-10, outscored them 2-0, and the expected goals were 65%. Evan Bouchard was absolutely dominant last night, and I know what people are saying, one of his best games all year. I see that from Luch in the chat. I would say this run right now is Evan Bouchard. Like, he had a tough first month. I think he dialed it in come about November 15th, around there. Towards the end of November, he started to get better. December, he was good. January, he's been elite. I mean, we can go back to the play he made against the Winnipeg Jets. They don't beat the Hawks last night, and they don't beat the Jets last week without Evan Bouchard.
Yeah.
Connor Ingram was their best player last night, but Bouch was number 2.
I like the way you put that. I would agree. And I think that's why you can experiment with him a little bit more if Wallman comes back and you want to move things around. The Wallman is back, I should say. He's a player you can just put anywhere, and I think he can succeed. Do you think November 15th was around when he was saying
let's just
say mid-November.
Okay.
I'm just out of curiosity.
What his numbers are?
Yeah. So since mid-November, how do I get this off? Come on. You're much quicker at this than I.
Yeah.
Defenseman in the NHL. Evan Bouchard is third in points behind. He has 31 in 27 games. Darren Radish is first.
Classic
which
D-Rads.
Is hilarious.
Always popping.
And he has 36 points, plus 22 as well. What a run. And Zach Werenski is 35 points in 24 games. Evan
Got his
Bouchard.
coach fired.
Yeah, so what does that say? Bouchard also plus 12 over that period.
So the Oilers go up 2-0, and from basically the moment they went 2-0 on, they lost their game. Yeah. They were playing so good for 20 minutes and 14 seconds, and then Bouchard scored 14 seconds into the second period, and everything went to shit. They started turning over pucks. They gave up some great A's in the first period, and Connor Ingram had to be sharp. Like, I think Chicago only had, was it 3 shots on net?
It was like 4 at least.
5. 5 shots.
That first save that he made, the double, here, is this the one?
Yeah.
And
that one's in the second.
Well, that's in the second. But in the first period, when McDavid kind of coughed it up there, right in the middle of the ice, what was that, like 2 minutes into the game?
Yeah.
And Ingram, he looked like just incredibly calm. Like, one save, yep, no problem. Make the second one quickly, yeah, all good. He's been fantastic. I think that Boston game for him is a real dampener on his numbers. Like, he only has a 904 right now. But if you've actually watched his games, like I know a lot of people have watching the show, you know he's playing at like a 920.
6 of his 7 have been above a 900, but the one was below 800.
His play is so good.
I mean, if the Oilers, because let's call him what he is, he's their backup.
Yep.
And 1A, 1B, whatever words you want to use to describe him. If he gives the Oilers 900 hockey 6 out of every 7 times,
it's unreal. He's giving them a chance. He's giving them a chance to win every night.
If him and Tristan Jarry can both do that, plus 900 or better hockey 6 out of every 7 games, you know what's going to happen come spring? No one's beating the Oilers 4 times out of 7 games if they get 900 or better goaltending in those series. Anyways,
that's crazy.
Let's continue this conversation. If you stop, Aaron, do you want to go back to the full screen? No, well, just keep it stopped on the paused screen here. It's how I'm going to tie in our first guest. As you can see, play in the neutral zone right here between the benches. That man's Darren Pang. He's our first guest on the Oodle Noodle guest line, brought to you by Oodle Noodle. You can take advantage of the value menu deal and add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 wontons to your order for just $2. It does not get any better than that. OodleNoodle.ca to find a location near you. As we welcome in former NHLer, now on the broadcast for the Chicago Blackhawks, Darren Pang. Darren, appreciate you giving us some time.
Thank you for having me. A little oodle noodle never hurt anybody, I'm sure.
Hey, next
I
time you're in
needed some between the
Edmonton.
benches.
Yeah. Let's talk about that game last night. I mean, when we did our preview yesterday, it was like, all right, here we go. Connor McDavid on an all-time heater. Connor Bedard back healthy in the lineup for the Blackhawks. And then, I mean, obviously Bedard's sick, doesn't play. But that game, Darren, it turned into a goaltending duel between Spencer Knight and Connor Ingram. They were both just fantastic.
Yeah, they really were. And, I'll start with Spencer because I thought the Oilers started this game on time. I mean, you got your mentor's trip, and a lot happens there. You have the big dinners the night before, and the players don't want to disappoint their dads, but it's a long day. And the dads go in on the meetings. They sit there, a long time in the hallway because I go in the hallway before I hop between the benches, and so the day is long, but the players don't want to disappoint. Their start was great. Spencer Knight was outstanding. I think Kapanen might have had 3 or 4 goals in that first period alone. He and Draisaitl were really moving the puck well and seeing each other very well, especially Draisaitl to Kapanen. And Kapanen on that one probably should have waited a little bit longer if he'll look at it 100 times and probably had bad nightmares last night. But as it turns out, he fired it early and right into the glove of Spencer. But then as the game went on, I thought in the second period, I thought that's when I thought Connor Ingram, I thought he played some really good hockey because there was no rebounds. I actually on the air, because I noticed you got the Sportsnet, and I'm sure Louis DeBrusque was saying the same thing, but everything was kind of up high to him, and he never let anything go. It seemed like he squeezed everything, and there was no secondary chance, and so that was a big part, I think, of the Blackhawks talk after the second period is let's start getting pucks in areas that we can maybe get a second opportunity against Connor, because he was on top of his game, on top of his crease, fundamentally really, really sound. He wasn't sliding all over that, post to post. He was right in the middle of the net. So he played an impressive game for sure, but so did the entire team. And as it turns out, you're right. We're looking for this great matchup with Connor versus Connor. And I must have spent a half an hour before the game, after the morning skate with Connor Bedard. And it was like he was great. He was fine. I mean, everything was great. He was looking forward to it. He was excited. I even joked to him. I said, "Hey, it'd be great for Canada. You just drop the mitts with Connor McDavid right off the hop." And he goes, "Yeah, right." So I mean, he's been an unbelievable person and personality. And then we got word just before the game that he couldn't play. So I know he was devastated because came back for 2 games and played really, really well in the 2 games, especially the second one in Nashville.
Just on Connor Ingram, I mean, obviously when he came up to the Oilers, it came at a time, it was like the Oilers just got Jari. He's now injured, and now we're looking at a situation where they have the goalie in the NHL with the worst save percentage and the goalie in the American League with the worst save percentage.
Yeah.
Things didn't look good, but Ingram's been really good for them besides the one game. Do you think his style just fits Edmonton a little bit better because he's a lot calmer between the pipes? That's something I've noticed. He doesn't seem to panic in any moment, where with Pickett and Skinner in the past, I would say sometimes you can get a little bit too chaotic in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think when Skinner was on his game, I mean, he was in the middle of the net, and we talk a lot about composure in the net and have control of your crease. There was a saying that the great Marty Bird basically, know where your posts are, get to the middle of the net, get on top. And so that's when Stewart was at his best, and Calvin Pickard's a different kind of goaltender. He's a battler. I mean, he's the kind of guy that he's got more will than anybody out there. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be in this league, as we well know. He's just that kind of guy, and he endears himself to his teammates. But going back to Connor, sometimes when you're in the American Hockey League, things can become a little chaotic. I found when I was in the American Hockey League or the IHL back in my day, boy, there were some hairy moments there, and there's not as much trust, there's not as much structure. So you have to, be really on your toes to expect the unexpected. And a lot of times you get to the NHL and everybody has their job. And as long as everybody trusts their job, you end up just really being focused on the pucks, being square with the puck, and not having to do anybody else's job. So I've liked Connor. I know when he was a prospect with Tampa Bay, I watched him a little bit because a good friend of mine, Steve Yzerman, had drafted him there back in those days. And I always watched what was in the minors and how guys were going. And then when he got to Utah, he had some really good moments there in Utah. And then until he had the leave of absence. And then, now he gets another kick at the can. So happy for him because I think structurally he's a very good goaltender when he's on.
I want to talk to you a little bit about this Blackhawks team without Connor Bedard, which again we saw last night. But things were going really well for the Hawks, and it's never as simple as just pointing to the Bedard injury derailed things. But you can kind of look at their record with and without him. I kind of laughed today on DFO Live with Huts. I was like, man, maybe Connor Bedard missing that time strengthened his Hart Trophy case because of the difference when he's there versus when he's not. But what about Connor Bedard's game? Because I think 8 months ago the feel around the hockey world when it comes to Connor Bedard wasn't the same as it is right now, and he's changed people's opinions of him with his play through half a season. What parts of his game have allowed him to take this step forward?
Every single part of his game. I mean, he's certainly a guy that is well known for his shot, his release, his dragon release, and the way he kind of pronates that left hand and the way he can use the leverage. But he does way more than that. I mean, this year, I think more than the last 2 years, I've seen his straight ahead skating to be a lot more explosive. I'm not sure if it's due to just quicker crossovers or the fact that Jeff Blashill, he encourages your first 3 steps to be moving, getting going right away. So I think for Connor, and I think for the entire Blackhawks team or any young team, there's a little less of east, west, waiting for a play to develop, where in the NHL, especially when you're playing the good teams, they back check so hard. There's no time for that. You just paint yourself into a corner and you run out of real estate, and then the play's dead. I love that he gets to open spots. I tell you an area that he's done this year better than the last couple of years. And I think Mike Vellucci, the assistant coach that came over from Pittsburgh, has a lot to do with it, because he was with Sidney Crosby for 5 years. And I know one of the things they talked about was when to dump the puck in. It seems simple, doesn't it? But even the greatest players in the world know how to dump the puck in. That takes hockey sense. It's not just a flip in and go for a line change, or it's not just a soft rim when you've got a goaltender that can play the puck and you turn it over, basically. It's getting the puck back. And they went over several, probably, 20, 30, 40 clips of Sidney Crosby and how he dumps the puck in, where he dumps it, and how he gets it back. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think his shifts are faster, they're stronger, he's on the hunt more, and then his changes are better. And I think the entire team has done that a lot better. You show me a team that's trying to trend into a winning hockey way that doesn't change well, you won't find it, because that's losing hockey if you don't change well and put your next line mate in a really good position. So there's a ton of things: stick handling, edge work, ability to see the ice, playmaking, passing, and then his shot. He hasn't lost anything off that shot. In fact, I would say that it's better and more accurate this year than it had been the last couple of years.
Okay, you mentioned short shifts there. This is just an observation, but Artem Levshunov yesterday with a 5-minute shift. I mean, you had to feel bad for the guy. He's out there for the power play. It's all going good. And then Edmonton does the thing that they do where it's Connor and Leon right after the PK. And watching him standing in front of the net at the 3.5-minute mark of that shift, I felt terrible for him. There's nowhere he could go.
Yeah, we have that. We're lucky. I mean, you guys probably hear it on the broadcast a lot, but we have that SMT tech. So, I've got a monitor that's a program monitor benches, and then I've got another monitor that I can use as an ISO monitor in case the producer wants to show something while the play is going on behind the play, and then there's this SMT. So it's 2 minutes, 2:30, 2:40, 3:10, 3:40, 4:05, 5:33, and you're watching the kid, and he's hunched over, he's out of gas, and then you can't think because the oxygen doesn't get to your brain. So then you think you're flipping it out, and you don't flip it out, and you fan on it. Then it keeps coming back right down your throat. Then you ice it, and then here it comes again. So I mean, it's a tough one, but that's the danger of the Edmonton Oilers. You can do a great job on the power play, which they did. I thought that power play was really moving the puck around. The Hawks are only one of 2 teams in the NHL that have a power play and penalty kill in the top 7 on both. I think it's Pittsburgh and Chicago. So it's been good all year, especially the penalty kill, but the power play as well. And then that happens. Then all of a sudden, bang! Here comes 29 and 97, and thanks for coming. You're on your heels the whole way. And that was a perfect description of the Oilers following a penalty kill right there.
Connor McDavid right now, what's he on? Is it 19
in a row?
A couple points again last night. It's incredible, isn't it? What are you making of? What did you make of his game last night and just in general over this run? Because there's a huge debate right now. Is this the best we've ever seen him play? And it's funny that there's another time in his career that might be considered his best, considering how well he's playing.
Yeah.
I just think he's great all the time. I mean, whether he's scoring or not scoring, like, you just think of all these little things. Like every single team in the league matches up their best defensive centerman, and then they match up their defensemen. In our case, Louis Crevier, who's 6'8", and Alex Vlasic, 6'6", and they did a phenomenal job, I thought, against him in last night's game. But it doesn't even matter if he scores or not because he backs everybody off. And what he does is he just sets it up for the next line. He wears out the 2D, so now maybe their next shift they're out of gas, and so maybe he picks it apart, and then he finally finds an opening. But the guy gives it every single night. He tries. He's obviously a terrific distributor. Sometimes it looks like he gets bored, so he shoots the puck, to be quite honest with you. It's like, oh, I better shoot the puck. I've had it on my stick for, several minutes now. He leads the league in ozone possession time. He leads the league in rush chances. He leads the league in, there's not many categories that he doesn't lead the league in. And so, I'm obviously a big fan. And I love that Zach Hyman's back at it. And I thought last night was a great story. Before the game, Zach Hyman, I talked to him in the morning skate, and I talked to Nick Lardis. And pretty cool for Nick Lardis to play a game against the guy that owned his team, his Brantford team. So I said to Zach Hyman, "You'll like this, fellas," because I said, you're the Gretzky of this era. And he looks at me and I go, well, not the plane, but I said, when I was in my second year of junior with the Belleville Bulls, Wayne Gretzky bought our team. And so I got to go to training camp. Danny Quinn, myself, Marty McSorley. We had a bunch of guys. I think Craig Cox was on that team that played in the NHL. And there's Gretz skating with us and, getting ready for training camp. And he's getting ready for his camp. And he owned our team. He coaches for one game. So I told Zach about that. And he's like, yeah, I don't think that we can compare me to Wayne Gretzky. But good on him for owning the team. And it was great that they took a picture before the game. Because those memories, they're special. I mean, back in my day, everybody frowned upon that type of thing. You never even looked at a buddy or said something to them anymore. Times have changed. The game has changed. And the relationships have changed. And I thought it was a really nice moment last night before the game between those two.
I know you want to ask about the Oilers and the cup contender question, but I got one more Chicago one. Just because, again, Oilers fans watching this team, we only get to see the Hawks a couple of times a year, and I'll leave this maybe more open-ended. Yesterday we talked about Frank Nazar as a guy who, when I do watch the Hawks, at least early in the year when he was healthy, I love watching that guy play. But who's a player on this Chicago team? I'll throw another one. That you mentioned Crevier. I was blown away watching him yesterday, just the size and how he moves. But who's a guy on this Hawks team who isn't getting enough love outside of Chicago that you have an appreciation for watching them up close?
It's a good question because there are a number of guys that come to mind because I see them all the time. But one guy they really missed last night after the first period was Tara Vinen. He got hurt in the first, only played 5 minutes, didn't play the rest of the way. They were shorthanded and a highly skilled player. But I'd say the guy that is recognized around Chicago now and in the locker room would be Ilya Mikheyev. I mean, their penalty kill is fourth best in the NHL. He leads all forwards in PK minutes per game. And, he's kind of unheralded. He's unassuming. He's low maintenance, always comes to work on time. I think he's a really a great fit here for the Hawks. So that would be one. And then, it's funny that they've got so many guys on the back end, but we locally in Chicago, we do talk about Crevier and we do talk about Vlasic, and for good reason. But I tell you what, Wyatt Kaiser is a heck of a defenseman. Yeah, he's from Minnesota Duluth. He's again not very big, but he's competitive. Doesn't often come out of the corner without the puck. You want to throw analytics out there? That'd be the number one thing I would want to. I want which player goes in the corner and comes out with the puck. He does, and he doesn't take much either. He's not a fighter. He's not that, but he's not getting pushed around. So I'll throw Wyatt Kaiser's name in that list.
Last one from me. It's a pretty simple one. Do you see the Oilers as a true cup contender, or do you still think they need a little bit more to get over what is going to come from the Central Division, at least to get to the cup final?
I always see them as a cup contender. You got the two greatest. Well, okay, you can argue every which way but Friday. Let's just call them the two greatest players in the game right now. What don't they have? Honestly, they scare the daylights out of you with Zach Hyman there versus without him. There's a big difference. You can't throw a third liner up there and say, okay, this is your guy. The only guy that could do that, it was Wayne Gretzky. He could throw anybody over there. He could throw you and me over and tell you to put your stick on the ice and go hard to the post, and you'll probably score 20 goals a year. But I mean, I don't know. I just think that they're a pretty well-rounded team. I think some guys that are taking maybe a little bit of heat there. I'm not big on a lot of comments and criticism on social media. I just watch games. All I know is when the game's going to get tough, I think that Trent Frederick's going to be a real good player for you. I think that in the right role, I think that when you win games come the conference final, it's board battles. It's the physicality. It's putting a little fear into the other team's defensemen. So I just think that there's guys on that team that know their role right now. I'd like Curtis Lazar in that four hole. Whether he can keep that up, I don't know. But I've always liked his game as long as he's in the right role. I think he's a very serviceable player and a sturdy player, and that's what you need. You don't need light and fluffy. You don't need light and fluffy. You need hard-nosed guys that know how to go in there, win a battle, get on the face-off dot, separate the man from the puck, take a hit to make a play, all those little things. So, no, I like the club. I like the way they are. I thought the Spencer Stastny move was a good move, considering the trade with Pittsburgh. I think the Tristan Jarry move is a good one as well, and I'll tell you why. I think his puck handling skills are elite. And you say, well, what's a big, you got to stop pucks. I get that. But when you need to alleviate some pressure, when it gets a little hard, there's nothing like a goaltender that can play that puck out of your zone, and he has that great ability. So, and it looks like Connor might be with Pickard. It looks like they've got some depth in goal, which has always been questioned.
Yeah, I mean the goaltending thing. I remember how much their defensemen loved having Mike Smith and Jarry. Maybe not on the Mike Smith level, but you're right. He's very effective at playing the puck. Darren, appreciate your time. I know we kept you a little bit long, but we really do appreciate you popping on and giving us some analysis. Thanks for doing this.
Love it. You love the game of hockey, fellas. I'm glad to be on the show. Take care.
Thanks, Darren Pang. CHSN, he's between the benches for the Hawks, still doing the NHL on TNT as well, and very gracious with his time today, popping on for 20 minutes and giving us his thoughts on the game last night. I liked his break. That Hawks blue line, like you said it off the start of the show, I'd call it like sneaky good. I think it's a lot of names that casual hockey fans would kind of go like, huh? But like Alex Vlasic's going to play on a U.S. Olympic team before his career's done.
Yep.
Crevier, I mean, we heard the name yesterday. I was looking at some of the numbers, and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting guy. Then you see him, and he's just a mountain of a human being.
7th round pick.
Crazy.
7th round pick, and the guys that aren't even on this blue line yet are 2 first-round picks in Kevin Korchinski and Sam Renzel.
Makes you wonder if maybe someone could squeak loose before the deadline.
Well, you look at that bottom pairing, and it's Connor Murphy and my guy.
Your boy.
Matt Grzelcyk. But I think the Grzelcyk era might be over with Spencer Stastny. I don't think they want to have multiple small defensemen on the blue line. So I'll have to return my jersey, which is too bad. But whatever. You live and you learn, I suppose. Okay, I wanted to bring this up yesterday, but we didn't really have time.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring it up right now. And I know what the answer is going to be, but I want to talk about it. Can you pull up the Blackhawks lines for me, Aaron, when you get a second here? Does it not irk you a little bit that the Oilers went through a rebuild at a bad time? In the sense of, like, I think the league, the Oilers, maybe I'm wrong in saying this part, but this is how it feels to me. It feels like the league saw what the Oilers did during their rebuild and were like, wow, they did a terrible job. Let's do almost a complete opposite. Well, now you look at this. Can you just go to the blue line for me, Aaron, please? I think this is very interesting. So Vlasic, what was he? I think he ended up being a 2nd-round pick, whatever he was. Crevier, 7th-round pick. Wyatt Kaiser, 3rd-round pick. Lashunov, 2nd, and then the other 2, whatever. It's
2nd overall.
2nd overall, yeah. I just feel like just that alone, I see that and I'm like, that's so annoying. Like the Oilers had Martin Marincin coming through and they couldn't develop him well enough. And maybe it's not even necessarily the players, but like the system the Oilers had. And I do think it was that era of hockey as well, where it's like you need to be the worst team in the league and it doesn't really matter. Well, like now it's just like, no, like it takes a while, don't get me wrong, but like Chicago's gone from a team we talked about yesterday with Bedard, where it's like, oh, they can't even like have guys on the power play who can receive his passes, to, oh, our blue line can defend Connor McDavid fairly well for every shift. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, do you think it is a different era of hockey, or do you think the Oilers just did a bad job? Or maybe both.
I mean, the thing to remember with Chicago is they've been out of the mix now for a while. Yep. This has not been a 2-year rebuild. They weren't, I mean, again, I guess they technically eliminated the Oilers that COVID year, if you want to count that, but like that was just a weird time for everybody.
So they got Kirby Dach 3rd overall in 2019. That's the year they got Vlasic too.
Okay. I think what they've done better than what teams who fail at their rebuilds, and again, you can point to Chicago and say that they actually missed on a few of these plays earlier on, and it's why the rebuild went a long time, but like Tyler Bertuzzi's leading their team in goals this season. He's been awesome. He was awesome last night. They go off to take Ilya Mikheyev off the scrap heap. I'm pretty sure Vancouver's paying a quarter of his salary this year, right? Teuvo Teravainen, they go make the move for that guy. I mean, Panger was just talking about how much they miss him. You can go up and down. Nick Foligno, Jason Dickinson, like these guys who they just kind of plucked, who were kind of afterthoughts. I mean, Corey Perry before he had to leave Chicago, but like that was working too. They've done a good job keeping some veterans in the lineup. Not to the point where the kids are getting pushed down. Like you look at their top 4, it's all young guys right now. But you look at that forward group and like Bedard has a vet to play with if he needs it. Ryan Green centering the top line. Burakovsky and Bertuzzi, right? I just think they've done a good job of insulating their guys.
I think another thing that's interesting here, and I see this now a lot in the NHL in general, but like multiple first-round picks. Like I think the value of players has gone up a little bit too. Where like this is the example. I always think of this guy. Jeff Petrie went for like a 2nd-round pick from the Oilers, and he was like 3rd or 4th on TSN's board that year. Yeah. Where like nowadays, like there's no way that guy's not going for a 1st-round pick with his offensive ability and how good he was defensively. Where you look through the Oilers' decade of darkness, they had multiple 1st-round picks. Twice. That just doesn't happen anymore. 2007 and Nucci's year. Yeah. See what I mean? No, like there was very few years they actually had like
they stocked up picks.
Even like 2nd-round picks. The Draisaitl year and the McDavid year, they did not have 2nd-round picks or 3rd-round picks.
You want to know why they didn't? Was that because that would have been the year after.
McClellan,
Chiarelli,
yeah. Actually,
so those didn't work their way. Also, the Reinhardt deal.
That's what I mean.
High picks.
I just find it's. I'd love to go back and look myself. I just wanted to. I thought about it yesterday. Kept me up at night.
All right, let's get to a couple of comments here before we continue along. Nate said, anyone have an update on Braden Point, Team Canada replacement if he can't go? Braden Point hurt last night, had to be carried off the ice in Philadelphia. Lightning said he traveled. Here's the injury, by the way. Lightning said he traveled with the team to Pittsburgh. Status for the game tonight, unknown. The fact he didn't go straight home to Tampa Bay probably means no structural damage.
Yeah, he's probably fine.
Hutz said that today to me, too, on DFO Live. He was like, He said that's probably like a sprained MCL. Hutz was like, you get that all the time when you're a goalie. He had it a handful of times in your career. He said, in the moment, it feels like your knees exploded, and then you give it a few hours, and it's like, okay, I'm good. And Hutz kind of said, like, by tomorrow, he'll be walking, and he'll be fine in a few weeks. So
no Connor Bedard at the Olympics right now. Oh, instant no.
I think it'd be Mark Scheifele who takes Point's spot. If a guy like Point goes down, or Jarvis, it'll be Scheifele or Jarvis.
Scheifele's a good pick. Very kind of similar, I guess, in a way.
Someone's talking about basketball a lot in the chat.
I don't know what this guy's going on about.
That guy is he's our number 1 commenter today, but he's not making a ton of sense.
Congrats on being the top fan.
Yeah,
go Raps.
Yeah, we're all Raps.
Joel got mad that we talked to NFL for 6 seconds.
Joel, relax.
Shut up, Joel.
God,
Joel, I'm your number 1 hater. Okay. Let's keep cruising along with the show today. It is a game day for the Oilers. They're playing back-to-backs. They've been shitty in back-to-backs this year.
Have they won one?
I think they're 1-5.
Damn.
Anyways, game days here on Oilersnation Everyday are brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Edmonton. Check out their extensive inventory of top-quality vehicles like the 2026 GMC Terrain Denali or the 2026 Sierra Denali Ultimate. Capital GMC Buick is Edmonton's highest volume GMC dealer and the number 1 certified pre-owned dealer in Alberta. Check out the dealership, 9751 34th Ave Northwest, or online, capitalgmcbuick.ca. Edmonton taking on Nashville tonight, and they will have some new additions in the lineup. A couple of familiar faces back in the mix as both Tristan Jarry and Jake Wallman were activated from LTIR. The expectation is that Jarry's going to get the start tonight. Again, you wouldn't activate him if you weren't going to play him tonight. Yeah. Adam Henrique placed on LTIR. Connor Ingram has gone from emergency recall to regular recall. The reason they have to do that doesn't have anything to do with waivers or manipulating things, but if you're going to keep Ingram on your roster, he has, and like emergency recalls for when you're down to 1 goalie. if you have Jari and Pickard healthy, Ingram can't stay as an emergency recall, so he's now a regular recall. Gregor saying that the Oilers have 4 days until they would have to put Ingram on waivers to send him down. Guys, they're not sending down Connor Ingram. Like this little 2-week, 3-week stretch where you didn't have Tristan Jari was a direct tryout between Ingram and Pickard for who's going to be the backup, and one guy very, very clearly won that job.
And it wasn't particularly close.
No.
I think Calvin Pickard actually played
fine-ish.
I think he's played better.
Yeah.
But like he hasn't played to the standard of Jake Wallman, but Connor Ingram. I don't think it's that close.
That last game, Pickard against Winnipeg, that was a nail in the coffin for me.
Yep. I just don't think both of those goals are going in against Ingram. Like even like you didn't love his game against LA, Connor Ingram.
No, didn't love it, but it was serviceable.
But I think also too when you look at Connor Ingram's mistakes, they seem cleaner, if you know what I mean. Like it's like, oh, he just dropped it. Yeah. Where like Pickard's like, oh shit, he didn't even see the guy going that way. You know what I mean? It just seems like he sees the game a little bit clearer.
Bo says there seems to be a few people who think Ingram's going down. Who?
Send us links, Bo.
I legitimately haven't seen anyone suggest that it's Ingram who goes back down to the minors, unless I'm totally missing on someone. But it's going to be Pickard who goes down eventually. I think they're cap compliant right now, and that is with 7 D-men, 13 forwards. Here's the tweet from Puckpedia. Henrique to LTIR, activated Wallman and Jari off of LTIR. They have $271,000 remaining with 23 players on the roster. They have an extra forward, an extra D-man, and an extra goalie, and they're cap compliant. They're gonna keep Pickard around. I don't see and like I know what people will say, oh, third goalie, that's not good, blah blah blah. I think if you asked Calvin Pickard, would you rather be the third goalie in Edmonton or the backup in Bakersfield? He's going to want to stick in Edmonton. There's no salary. You're in LTIR, so you can't accrue cap space. If the Oilers weren't in LTIR, I'd have a totally different take on this, but like you can't accrue cap space anyways. You have a goalie in Jari who is coming off an injury, so make sure he's healthy before you expose Pickard to waivers. I don't see what the downside is to just keeping 3 goalies for the next 2 weeks. People on Twitter were being like, you're an idiot, blah, and I was getting called out for it. And it's like, what's the downside to keeping Calvin Pickard in your lineup for 2 weeks? He's not going to back up games. He's going to come in for the practices and take a few shots, and if anything, lessen the workload day to day that that Ingram and Jari have to face in practice. Keep Pickard as your third goalie till the Olympic break and then send him down. There's no downside there.
I like what you said about making sure Jari is good.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's coming off an injury. There is a history of him maybe not lasting too long after that injury, but then eventually once he gets over that hump, he's fine. I think that's a good thing to do. Mulick said in the chat that Richard was talking about asset management on Pickard. Sending him down would be a bad asset. I just don't think that's true.
He's a pending UFA.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
And goalies don't go for anything.
What are you looking for? Like a 6th round pick? Like the only way I could see it is if like Ottawa, well, like James Reimer sucks, which he probably does, and Omar's still out. They need another goalie. It's like, hey, we'll give you a 5th or 6th round pick.
Yeah,
I'm in, but I don't know.
I think maybe unless they're talking about assets, not from like the what you're getting for them, but like why lose that depth if you don't have to? But at some point, you're going to have to. Like, at some point, it's not feasible to keep a $1 million third-string goalie. Like, you're going to need that cap space when Henrique's back. Or if Mangiapane's traded, like, you're still going to need it by the deadline. So, they'll keep 3 for a while, I think. But I don't think it's for any other reason than just injury insurance on Ingram and Jari. Because you maybe you do think, yes, someone's going to be gone. So, you just don't waive them.
The other side of it, too, is Connor Unger's playing really well in Bakersfield. You've got Johansson as well. Like I said it yesterday, I was like, stop blocking the path.
Yeah.
Like that, these guys play. They deserve to play. They're playing way better than the Connor Ingram was in Bakersfield.
Yeah. Depressed Canadian dropped in a $10 super chat. He said they should keep 3 goalies because Jari's health reliability is still a question mark. Ingram should be sent to the AHL to stay sharp during the Olympic break because he will likely be the backup. No. I'm sorry. I don't think you're going to put Ingram down because you'd have to do it in the next 4 days. So you're going to go 2.5 weeks. of a condensed schedule with Pickard as your backup instead of Ingram, and it could potentially cost you points in the standings because you want to keep Ingram sharp during the break. There's just no way. There's no way that I'd be stunned if they did that. Absolutely stunned.
I think there's one thing we should all remember here. The NHL is what matters the most. As much as I'm talking about like they shouldn't block the way for these kids, there is the angle of what you're saying, like the layer of depth. And if Pickett is to go down because of that, then it is too bad on those young guys, but that's something they just have to figure out down the road. It's about winning games every single night. And Connor Ingram is winning you hockey games every single night. Like, I think we would all agree, and maybe I'm too harsh, like, Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickett, I would question if they would save that first couple of shots on goal last night. And Connor Ingram stuffed them both.
Yeah.
He's winning you hockey games. And people are throwing other media members in the chat saying, like, this guy said this guy said that. I would like to know when they said that. Because if they're saying it after last night, then I'm not sure what they're watching.
Yeah.
But if it's before and the conversation's been had, then sure. But like, I don't know how you can watch that game last night and not be like, well, their goalie was incredible, but the Oilers goalie also wasn't that far off that standard either.
Correct.
And one of them should be going to the Olympics. The other one's played 6 games this season.
Spencer and I should be going to the Olympics, not Connor Ingram.
Not Connor Ingram.
Bo is in, says, there's no keeping Ingram sharp by sending him back to a team where he had the league worst save percentage because of the chaos. That's a great point. Parker's in and says, as a goalie that's been on a team with 3 goalies, it's insanely awkward, disrupts the flow of games played and practice reps. Yeah, but I think the difference here is that, 1, it's for a short-term run of time, just to get you to the Olympic break, maybe to the deadline. 2, it's a 3-goalie system where they're not going to be worried about playing Calvin Pickard.
That's what I was going to say.
Like,
I think it's a 3-goalie system where you basically have a practice goalie.
It's a 3-goalie system on paper, but everybody knows who the 1, the 2, and the very distinct 3 is. So I don't think I get what you're saying. Like, yes, what Buffalo's doing, for example, when all their guys are healthy, I think is distracting and is a mess because they're trying to get everybody games. This wouldn't be that because they would not be prioritizing Calvin Pickard in any way.
Pickard's just in charge of vibes now, which I'd argue is the greatest role he could have ever asked for.
Yeah,
he's a music guy.
This is great from Max. The fact they changed Ingram to a normal recall from an emergency to signal is a signal to everyone that he's staying up. Yes. Agreed. And he says, why is this a conversation? I mean, read the other comments. Like, Max, you're making sense, and I'm with you. But I'm just saying, like, there are other comments who they don't think he's going down. And I'm telling you, like, if they weren't 100% sold on Ingram being the guy, they would have just put him back at Bakersfield right now. All right.
Mr. Lubrication.
Naveed says we'd be screwed.
With what?
Pickard, if we lost Pickard on waivers. I mean,
they wouldn't be screwed.
Like, you don't want to lose Pickard to waivers, but you're not screwed because you still have 2 goalies better than him. And someone said Matt Tompkins. Yeah, Matt Tompkins might honestly be able to give you what Calvin Pickard gives you. Mm-hmm. Let's be real here, guys.
I just like Mr. Lubrication putting Calvin Pickard as a better save percentage over his last 5 starts than Connor Ingram. Because Connor Ingram had 1 bad game and everyone played terrible that night against Boston on New Year's Eve. I just don't think that's a fair. And that's why save percentage sucks.
Well, that too. Save percentage does suck. Also, are we all 100% sure that that's true?
I know. I was trying to find it. It seems very inaccurate, but I don't know. I'll take your word for it, Mr. Lubrication.
Okay, so Connor Ingram over his last 5 has an 898. Calvin Pickard over his last 5 has a, remember that number, 898. Calvin Pickard, he actually does have a 911 over his last 5 games, which is interesting. What game threw those up so much? Oh, he had the relief appearance against Boston. That helps, 13 for 13. And then the Winnipeg game was unreal, a 976. The other 3 games in that sample size are 4 goals against Minnesota, 4 goals against Philly, and an 8-13 against Winnipeg.
Yeah, we're good.
I think we can maybe look into the context behind those numbers. You can't just randomly shout his save percentage is better, so he's a better goalie. Some notes tonight ahead of the game against Nashville. Of course, Aaron's live pre- and post-game tonight. Who you got with you?
The very man next to you in the chair.
Oh, yeah, it's me. Pre and post.
That's right.
6 o'clock
right.
puck drop?
6 o'clock. The ideal start time in my world.
But I'm pissed. What? Well, usually I look at these things and I'm like, okay, Dog Patch Pizza Night, Tuesdays. I'm in on all pre and post on Tuesdays. Now we're not doing it. So now I've volunteered myself. I got to make my own damn pizza. I could
At home? Are you doing it from home?
I'll do it pregame.
There's a frozen pizza in that fridge over there.
Damn, it's not that. It's not that crappy potato one you got us last time.
No, it's a different one.
Thank God.
I have leftover lasagna soup for lunch.
Yeah, you said that before. It sounds really good. I was just confused by it.
Yeah, it's just like all the ingredients of lasagna in a soup. Amber made it last night. It was very good. And I have leftovers today. What do you have for lunch?
Burrito.
Oh, nice.
Did a 2-for-1 last night when I was ordering.
Oh, that's always a good move.
Yep.
You never
Back to
regret
back, you got to plan accordingly.
I have. You want to guess?
Mr.
Yesterday
Noodles.
you had
Mr.
like
Noodle. I had Mr.
Noodle.
Noodle. Yesterday I had a great meal. Today not so much.
Some other notes tonight ahead of the game. I saw you wrote a few down here. The Nashville Predators wrap up a 4-game homestand by hosting the Oilers after Edmonton beat them 6-2 last week.
They did. Jonathan Marchessault hasn't played since December 7th. Will likely be out again tonight. Nashville is 12-10-2 at home.
500.
It was 500. Brady Shea
PK's good.
had a particularly tough night against the Oilers last time with a 20.44 expected goals against percentage.
Expected goals for percentage.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
The Oilers are 8-1-1 against the Preds straight up in their last 10 games. So that's really not good for Nashville. Their last regulation loss in Nashville was 2018 when Nashville was good and the Oilers were bad. That's kind of how.
Listen, Leon Draisaitl beats the wheels off them every chance he gets. Edmonton looked awesome against the Preds last time they played. The Oilers get Wallman back. The Oilers get Jari back. There's a lot of reasons to be very confident in this Oilers team tonight.
Yeah, totally. I would assume Regula obviously comes out of the lineup. I'm curious where they slot Wallman in the lineup. I would put him right next to Stastny and see what you got between the two of them, to be honest. I would like that. The forward group, I do think Ike Howard will slide into. Bob made a comment on his show that everyone plays on the dad's trip, besides when you have 3 goalies, I guess. So we'll see where Howard slides in. Do you think Mangiapane just comes right back out? I would. I think that fourth line was awesome.
Yeah, that fourth line last game. First off, I looked at the shift charts from last night. The Livshunov shift is so funny to look at
like this
on
big.
this thing. It's like it's so out of place. The Oilers' fourth line yesterday: Frederick, Lazar, and Janmark. I liked Freddie last night too.
3 shots. Yeah.
Here's the numbers from Sean Pang and Eben. Have to give credit where it's due to Trent Frederick. No points tonight, but he tilted the ice in just 9:25 of 5-on-5 ice time. 3 shots, 9-2 edge and shots when he was on the ice. Scoring chances were 14-3. That last game was good. And you know what? It's a fourth line that has an identity. It is 3 guys who will just go out there and work hard. And when all 3 of Frederick, Lazar, and Janmark were on the ice, the Oilers outshot the other team 6-2. And we heaped praise on those guys last game.
Yeah, we did.
And it was like, hey, they didn't start once in the offensive zone. And they still put up positive numbers. Last night against Chicago, they started 1 of their 5 zone start shifts in the O zone. 3 in the D zone, 1 in the neutral zone, 1 in the offensive zone, and they still put up positive numbers. Like,
are you able to see when that offensive zone shift was by chance? I would assume it was in the first period when everyone just started in the offensive zone.
Oh, yeah,
but,
probably.
You know what I mean? Like, but they played really well, and I think it's encouraging to see. We've been screaming for Frederick to find an identity on this team and for the coaching staff to help him find that identity. And now he's found it. And I think one thing that we questioned as well, just over this last little stretch, was what game Henry got injured against whoever that was the other day. Blocked a shot, the others obviously go down. How many forwards? They did, 11. But Janmark and Lazar both played really well. And going into the next game, it was like they played with a ton of pace and they worked hard. It's like Frederick has to find a way to do that to make himself useful. And he did. I think that line has been awesome. It feels like this is the first time all season where even with Mangiapane in the lineup, you're looking at all 12 forwards and saying like they're all in the right spot. And we haven't. And even when Howard comes in tonight for whoever it may be, I would assume, again, Mangiapane, I think we'll look at Howard and think, yep, that's where he needs to be. And I think we all need to push aside this idea of certain guys need more minutes. No. I think everyone's playing well enough right now in the minutes they're getting. And hopefully the others can blow the doors off the Nashville Predators going into the third period. And then you can push Howard and Savoy out there a little bit more and let them get some ice time. But for now, I really like where everyone's slotted. And it's quite exciting. There's no forwards currently out, right? Henrique, he'd be the only one, which makes you even think even more. It's like, do they need him?
That fourth line now, by the way, in their 2-3 games together, shot attempts 27-13, shots 16-6, expected goals 1.77 to 0.5. That's 78%.
Nice. That's
scoring chances 19-5. Like, that's wild. Wildly impressive.
Good chances too. Like in a slot, like getting right in there. Like they need a bit more finish, there's no doubt. But like, there's a reason why they're playing on the fourth line as well. But I like him a lot. I'm even liking Yermak.
Okay, I think if I'm following the chat correctly, someone is saying that Tompkins doesn't have NHL playoff experience. That's why you need to keep Pickard around. Okay, first off, there is like an 80 to 90% chance Calvin Pickard would clear waivers. Like, let's be very clear here. Yes. There's not a long line of teams looking to create a three-headed goalie monster of their own. So, like, come on. Number two, if they get to the playoffs and Jari gets hurt and Ingram is so bad that you aren't playing him over Pickard, your season's probably over.
Yeah, if you're down to goalie number 3,
like, you're probably
gone wrong. Tompkins was at the Olympic. That's actually a fair point. He was on that Olympic team. What was that, 2014, 2018?
Yeah, I mean, but like, so is Jason Demers, and we don't want JD to step into the playoffs.
But that's high pressure moments. Like, you're in it, right? Like, it's not nothing, I guess, but it's definitely not. It's a typical Olympics would be.
Weren't there like no people in the stands? I don't remember.
Either way, Tompkins. I don't even know if Tompkins would be the call up. Like, if you're getting to that point in the season and this Connor Ingram kid's like hanging around 9:15, you're probably looking at him.
Also, Calvin Pickard, like, he's gonna clear waivers, guys. They maybe have to time it up right, but like, he's gonna clear waivers.
I think if they did wait, and I've been pondering on this since you mentioned it before, they wait till the Olympic break, 2022 for Tompkins. Thanks. I wonder if teams would even want to pick him up based off like, well, we also want to recruit Cap. So, like, no, we don't want Calvin Pickard on our team.
Yeah. Put him down the day the Olympic break starts.
And then maybe, if you want to talk about asset management, like people were mentioning, the Oilers got Connor Ingram after he went through waivers. Maybe that increases Calvin Pickard's value.
Yeah, maybe.
You know,
but again, I don't think the Oilers would, like, trade him. They have no reason to want to get out of the money because it's fully buriable. So once he clears, I don't think a 6th-round pick is enough for them to lose the depth.
I just think it's insane how much you guys care about Pickard going on waivers or not.
Yeah,
like, we're watching it right in front of he's lost his job. He's been the Oilers' 4th best goalie this season.
And Connor Ingram's been good.
I'm sorry, and like, he's played a little bit better, sure, but like, unfortunately, I think the time is just up, and I really hope I'm not wrong, because if Connor Ingram goes down, I think the Oilers have made a terrible mistake. Mm-hmm. Terrible mistake. And I don't know what message that would send to the team either. But, we love Calvin Pickard so much. But this guy's winning you games.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not for me.
67 goalies in the NHL this year have played at least 10 games. Out of those 67, he's 43rd in expected goals.
Damn. It's not good.
Save percentage above expected, he is 51st out of those 67. Like, again, he's a fine goalie.
I like what Darren Pang said. He's like, what did he say? He's a fighter or whatever, like survivor, or whatever you want to say. He stops pucks. He does it sometimes. He also sometimes lets in the worst goals you'll ever see. And people, you keep talking about Ottawa. Sure, maybe they would pick him up. But then Ottawa would soon enough put him right back on waivers when Ullmark comes back.
Linus Ullmark skated today.
Yeah.
They're not, like, Pickard won't clear, man. Tell me the team then. Who is it? Kate? Kate, tell me the team. Comment again. We'll wait. Tell me the team. Ottawa, like, why would Ottawa spend the money on James Reimer and then not play him? Like, that doesn't even really track for me. They also have Marilainen and Sogard. So, like, they don't really have a need for Calvin Pickard. Carolina, maybe. But even then, I bet you they aim higher if they try to get a third goalie. Mm-hmm. I love what he did for the team, but let's not paint Calvin Pickard in some light that's not true.
I love overvaluing our players as much as the next guy, but we need a little dose of reality here.
I think we just got to live in the now. Like, stop thinking about what he did. Yeah. And I agree, it was awesome.
How good is the Brett Kulak for Spencer Stasny whole loop-de-loop looking?
It looks great.
Yep.
So I just think, I think time's up. Someone mentioned Vegas needs goalies of all the injuries. I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Carolina was Kate's response.
I'm just, again, they have Freddie Anderson. They have Brandon Bussey. I agree that, like, if any team were to do it, maybe it's Carolina, but there's no way.
Do you want to quickly change topics before Pete comes? The Oilers did re-sign Quinn Hudson yesterday to a 2-year deal. What was it, $850?
Wait, but I thought Quinn Hudson was super pissed off that the Oilers keep sending him up and down, and he was over the organization.
I think he left knowing that he was getting a 2-year extension pretty quick. So I'm good now. Don't worry, I'll go to Abbotsford. All good. That's where he went right after. So I think it's a really good deal for the Oilers. I think this tells me it tells me a couple of things in the free agency side of things, that they're probably not going to be looking for these Mangiapane guys anymore. And I think they are willing to allow the Howards and Hudsons of the world next season to become full-time members of this team. Whoever else comes out, maybe Joe Venti is an option as well, and spend the money at the top of the lineup, which we've been craving for them to do for a couple of months now, at least. The off season, of course, is a big one. Tried to get Brock Besser, didn't work out. This season there's not as many players on the market as what they should have been. But I like the contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's just smart business. Like, this is what we were yelling. They should have done this with, and I'm not comparing the two players, but they had to do this with Dylan Holloway, right? Where, like, when he was getting yo-yoed up and down and was in out of the lineup, I think you can go to a guy and be like, hey, maybe he is a little bit down in the dumps. Like, oh man, why can't I stick? Like, what am I not doing? You go to him and say, hey, maybe it's not the best fit right now for you up here, but we believe in you as a player. Here's a 2-year contract, and, like, let's go down two paths here. Quinn Hudson over the next 12 months establishes himself as a legit bottom 6 quality NHLer. Oh my God, you have him for 2 more years at $875,000. Exactly. What a bargain.
Yeah.
What if he stinks?
That doesn't matter.
Thank you. He just continues being a good vet, in air quotes, for you down in Bakersfield.
Yeah, and I really don't know what the ceiling is for Quinn Hudson. He's blown my expectations this season. Like, he's leading the American League. Is it goals or points or both? Whatever it is, it's really impressive. So, great piece of business by Bowman. I think he's done a really good job during his tenure of finding these kind of random guys who are coming in and making a difference on this team. I know there's a couple of guys in the American League that they're really high on as well. So it's an impressive piece of business that he's got done, just really small ones.
Yeah. Our second guest of the day, Pete Blackburn, is brought to you by, Liam, our next nation vacation. We are going to Las Vegas, and there are still spots available, and you can secure your spot, by the way, with a 20% deposit. So head to nationgear.ca. Edmonton in Vegas, March 24th to 27th. Coming on the trip with us, you get your tickets to the game. Also, free food, free booze when you're at the game as well, all included in the lounge we're sitting in. You get a 3-night stay at the Circus Stadium Swim, my favorite spot to stay in Vegas, full access to the stadium swim pool, all of that stuff. Your transportation to and from the airport, your transportation to the game in Vegas as well. The list, honestly, just goes on and on and on. This is a great deal. It is a great chance to come hang out with us in Vegas. We're basically running back the same trip that we did last year, and last year's trip was absolutely unbelievable. So join us. Head to nationgear.ca. Secure your spot now because you are probably running out of time. Pete Blackburn, 1/3 of What Chaos. And Pete, first off, thank you for joining the show. Hope you're doing well. When you started your career in this industry, if I would have been like, hey, Pete, look into the crystal ball, New York Times article calling you painfully straight, I mean, you would have probably had a tough time figuring out how they got to that conclusion or why that's a headline.
For sure, and I definitely would have thought that I had said something like extremely problematic, and it would not have been a guess that it would come as a result of covering the gay hockey show. Like, that makes no sense to me, but I think that we have kind of we have broken containment, and we are being exposed to a lot of new audiences, and I'm finding out things about myself that I didn't previously think possible.
The equally straight line for co-host DJ Bean is also funny. But the thing I've loved about you guys and your coverage of heated rivalry and everything you've done is that, like, it's also just so perfectly on brand for you and Pete. Like, you can go back to the brunch days, all of that stuff. Like, this was a pitcher throwing 92 right down the middle for you guys, and you hit it 500 feet. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so we did a pop culture podcast for, I want to say, like, close to 10 years, a decade, and we never grew out of more than, like, 2,500 listeners or something, or whatever it was. And now we do a hockey show, and the second that we pivot to be like, hey, let's talk about this TV show for a little bit, and then the hockey podcast explodes. It doesn't make any sense to me, but the entire Heated Rivalry thing has been an incredible ride. And the fact that it is not only like the biggest show in hockey, but the biggest show in the world is outrageous, and it's just such a blast.
Will you guys be on season 2, or are you not allowed to reveal that yet?
Signed an NDA.
We don't know yet, and if we did know, we wouldn't tell you anyway.
That's fair. That's what I expected.
Do you think this show, and then we'll get to some NHL stuff, like, do you think this legitimately has a chance to, like, grow the sport of hockey? I mean, the proof is probably in your guys' numbers. Like, I went and looked the other day. The episodes where you guys have on Jacob Tierney and all that stuff, like, they bang. Like, there are eyeballs on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely think that it not only has the potential, but it already has grown. The number of people that have come to our show saying, like, hey, I don't really know anything about hockey, but now I'm legitimately interested. Can you answer some questions for us? We started doing a video series with Steve Peters to just kind of explain the basics of hockey and some of the questions that new fans might have. And like, there's been a lot of those people. There's also been a lot of people who have said, like, I am a hockey fan, or I was a hockey fan, and I just didn't know where I could go to consume like stuff that wasn't super bro-y or kind of that made me feel unwelcome or a little uncomfortable. And Heated Rivalry has opened up new doors to places that are willing to cover the show, but also willing to talk about the game in a way that doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. And I think both of those things are incredible. The NHL has acknowledged that this show has done a lot to grow the game that the league and the sport itself hasn't been able to do over the past handful of years to a decade, or whatever number you want to slap on it. So yeah, I absolutely think that hockey is kind of having a moment right now because of Heated Rivalry.
Just on the NHL, obviously, big surprise in news yesterday. Dean Everson fired as the Columbus Blue Jackets head coach. Now, I think this is interesting. Do you think this is because Columbus want to fall down the standings and they just think he's not the guy to do it? Or do you think they want to climb up and try and push for a playoff spot?
I think it's definitely the latter. I think that they made this move now when they did because they don't want to punt on this season. And I don't blame them for that. Like, they are 7 points out of a wild card spot. They finished just on the outskirts last year. And yeah, if you want to argue that, like, last year was like some magical ride that was kind of fueled by the vibes and positivity around the team after like unspeakable tragedy, sure. But I think that the regression that they've seen this year and some of the warts that they've seen this year has been unwarranted to a certain degree. Like, they've been awful in third periods, and they have not been able to correct sort of the shell that they enter when they're up late in games, and it has cost them a ton of points. And in a year where the Eastern Conference is so wide open and so many spots are up for grab, I don't blame Don Waddell for saying, listen, this guy isn't doing it for us. We have an experienced head coach in the waiting in Rick Bowness who might be able to kind of seize the reins on this thing. And so from that angle, I'm not surprised. But where I am surprised is that I thought Dean Evason might have a longer leash and a little bit more grace for what he was able to do in unthinkable circumstances last year with this team. And he was such a big part of bringing that group together, letting them kind of have their space to not only play, but also grieve and just kind of reestablish the culture in Columbus.
Yeah, like, you're right. All the Goudreau stuff last year, I thought Everson was going to get a much longer leash, but that's why I almost, and not to like disagree with you, but I almost lean more to like maybe there is a disconnect between the two sides here, and the two sides being Waddell and Everson, where like, does maybe Waddell wants to sell at some point or knows he's going to have to, and Everson pushed back. Like, it's just weird that in a matter of half a season, things would have gone so south that Waddell's punting this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably a result of they had just had a road trip where things went pretty poorly. I mean, I know I think they won the last game in which he was the coach, but like, they've had a pretty tough skid of late. And again, like, the trend of constantly blowing third period leads. 9 of their 27 losses this year have included a blown third period lead. So that's 33% of your losses are a result of you kind of giving it away in the third period. And that's a lot of points to leave on the table. And that's a lot of momentum to take away from your own team. And again, like, they're still only 7 points out. Look what happened to the Buffalo Sabres when they decided to can Kevin Adams in the middle of being on a win streak. Just even the spark that might ignite a group that you already have some belief in a year where the standings are so close, I think that it can lead to something better down the road, even this season.
I just want one more on Columbus. So, hypothetical scenario. Everything goes terribly, continues to go terribly. Charlie Coyle becomes available. 2-part question. Okay. 1, why did him and Trent Frederick work pretty well in Boston? Because I'm looking at the lines here, and they seem to have done well in that year. Boston had their great season. 2, would that make him a fit in Edmonton, replacing Henrique's role, I guess?
Yes, number one, Coyle and Trent Frederick worked very well together for one season in Boston. What I would say is that by the time both of them left, they were beloved players in Boston for a while. By the time both of them left, Bruins fans were pretty unattached to seeing them go. And that kind of tells you what you might be looking for here is I wouldn't bank on either one of them pulling each other up. And over the last few years, from what I've seen from Charlie Coyle, I love the guy. I really liked him and what he was as a player in Boston. He has kind of looked like a shell of himself, and I would be wary in searching for answers from him, just as I was wary from the Oilers searching for answers from Trent Frederick.
It'd be almost like doubling down on the Trent Frederick experiment to be like, all right. Yeah, not great. This is again, it's always shitty to be like, who's going to get fired next? But it's like a natural place to go after our first firing of the year. Also, crazy that we made it to January 13th, and this is the first coach to lose their job. But is there another situation around the league where you're like, oh, they might be the next one?
Yeah, I think that the Jim Hiller experience in LA is sort of coming to a boiling point. That team's inability to score goals and just play with any sort of consistency in what they bring to the rink on any given night. I know a ton of Kings fans that are fully out on Jim Hiller because like they're still hanging around and they're a fairly respectable team in the standings, but from a product standpoint and the slog that a lot of those games have been and sort of just not, they have so much talent there that isn't fully being put in bloom, I would say. And I think that the Jim Hiller experience was already pretty low based off of his impact on how that Oilers series went in the first round last year. I think that he has not done himself any favors with kind of the team's performance this year.
I thought it was crazy they had a job to start the season. So the
I
fact
thought the challenges alone in round one, I thought that was going to sink him. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
There's one
I can't remember other than like Grady Little as a Red Sox fan, a coach having that much of a magnificent impact on the outcome of a series based off of one decision.
Yeah. I was quite fond of his decision, actually.
You were.
One other interesting situation, Mitch Cobb in Philadelphia. It's just not gone well at all this year. There was a story on The Athletic. He hasn't scored on a goalie in like 6 or 7 weeks or something. Do you have any insight on like why that has gone so poorly for Mitch Cobb in Philadelphia?
Well, I don't have any inside information or anything, but one thing that I will say is last year, Jeremy Swayman came into camp and he got off on the wrong foot based off of the quote unquote holdout and not being around the team early in camp. And I do think when you enter into a situation that you're not fully ready for, and maybe the dynamic of the team around you is not amazing because of how you entered camp, there's something that could hold over for longer than you want to. And the way that Matvei Michkov entered into camp this year, overweight and a lot of people pissed around him, maybe that's had a lingering impact. I still think that he is a really good player, obviously with a ton of talent, but the noise that has been around him away from the ice, not only this year, but also last year, has been pretty loud. And to add on top of that, a new coach and maybe some teammates and potentially the coaching staff not being thrilled at you as a young player, that might be tough to handle on a day-to-day basis.
I think that's totally fair. Last one I got for you is just on the Oilers to throw you one. You obviously watch a ton of hockey around the league, and there's an exercise we kind of do where it's like, there are the true inner circle Stanley Cup contenders who are like, hey, these teams, their rosters are like ironclad good enough to win a Stanley Cup. Then there's the outer circle where it's like, if things break well, maybe they can go on a run. They're a playoff team with a lot of potential. Then there's everybody else. Do you view the Oilers as they stand right now as inner circle or outer circle in that cup contender conversation?
I mean, if looking at it in a vacuum, I would say outer circle, but I know too much about the Edmonton Oilers and the way that they progress through seasons that like I'm certainly not going to say that they are not very capable of heading into the inner circle as the season winds down, because that's just the way that it works. Like they stink to start off, they start finding something, they pick up a ton of steam, and then they head into the playoffs, and somehow people still kind of look past them or overlook them based off of the 82 game sample. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the Oilers look like as they finish off the season and in like the last few months, and knowing that they can find another gear in the playoffs, because they always do. And I just don't see a reason why at this point that I would take them away from what they've been over the past few years.
I have one more. We had a debate yesterday on the show of Connor Bedard. Obviously, the Oilers played Chicago. Bedard didn't even play. If you had to put your money on it, you can say whatever you want. How many MVPs would Bedard win in his career when it's said and done?
We were split.
It's tough because like he's gonna have to compete with Celebrini for the majority of his career, and I think that Celebrini is right. I mean, like right now projecting to be a better all-around player, but like we don't know fully what Connor Bedard is. I will say Bedard will finish with like 3 to 4 MVPs.
Really? Okay, then because Liam said 0. I said I think he gets 1 or 2, and then we had Pagnotta on, and Pagnotta said 0 as well.
Yeah, wow.
0? I mean, 0 is crazy. I think that if the Blackhawks find a like a stretch, like say like Nathan MacKinnon. I don't know if Bedard's ever going to be the player that Nathan MacKinnon is the quality of, but like I could easily see at least a couple in terms of what he's able to do in terms of producing offensively. Like his numbers offensively have the potential to be so gaudy that they just give him the MVP as a production award. Like I don't know if he'll ever be the best all-around, most valuable player in terms of like relative value, but his production might be so insane that he gets a couple of MVP awards.
It's a good point. Like, at this point in his career, Nathan MacKinnon also wasn't Nathan MacKinnon, right?
No, and like I think Bedard is more than capable of winning an MVP. I just look at it in the sense of the Celebrini thing. McDavid's going to be around for a while still too, and you can never doubt what he's going to do year to year. McKinnon's going nowhere, so there's 3 players ahead of him already. And like, of course, he could have like a 50-goal season, put up 130 points in Chicago for his first in the Central. I just think that's more unlikely than it is likely.
I also think he could be the guy, though, who they sneak in as a 7 seed one year.
Yeah,
and he's
sure.
like Pete says, he has 135 points, and it's like, oh, shit, he's the MVP.
Yeah.
Last one, Pete, then we'll let you go. You can answer it quick. How confident are you that the Patriots will be in the Super Bowl this year?
I definitely wouldn't say I'm very confident. I think they certainly can be. I think they need to go through the Buffalo Bills. And I think that that's basically a coin flip. Like the Patriots are not without their struggles, but if everything is firing on all cylinders for the remainder of this playoff run, I think they are the best team in the AFC, and they should get to the Super Bowl. But I'm not super confident in saying that they will.
Were you kind of hoping that the Steelers would have pulled that off yesterday?
Yeah, I would say like the Steelers are the weaker team there,
Yeah.
and I would love to knock out Aaron Rodgers, but I think I still think that Houston's very beatable.
Mm-hmm. All right, Pete, appreciate your time, man. Thanks for popping on and giving us some insight.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Pete
Farewell.
Blackburn, 1/3 of What Chaos. They're doing a new thing. Bonus shows on Friday if you go to their Patreon.
Damn.
So you can find even more What Chaos, because I know, again, so many of you in our YouTube chat watch their show and then come into our show after. So shout out to those guys. Subscribe to the What Chaos YouTube if for some reason you haven't already. And if you want some heated rivalry breakdown, they got you.
But they're all straight.
All
Just
straight.
Get on the record.
Okay.
New York Times has got it. We gotta push it too.
Mm-hmm. They're all
Pete
straight.
painfully straight. DJ equally as straight.
Let's,
Sean, no comment.
before we keep going along, there was something that was passed across my desk, Liam, that I want to give some love to. There is a hockey tournament going on at the Silent Ice Center in Leduc and the Ken Nichols Arena in Beaumont, and it's hosted by the R&R Society. And if you want to check it out, here, you know what I'll do, actually? I will put the story for the R&R Society, because it really is a tragic story. I'm going to put it in the YouTube chat if people want to read it, and then go find out more information about the tournament. But it's for a good cause here. And they're doing it all for Sports Central. And we love any event that's helping Sports Central. They have our full support. So they're collecting, repairing, refurbishing, redistributing gently used sports equipment to kids aged 14 to 17 in Alberta. Sports Central is the reason why a lot of kids are able to play organized sports. And the tournament that's happening this weekend, it's an annual U13 Memorial Hockey Tournament. Once again, Silent Ice Center in Nisku and the Ken Nichol Arena in Beaumont. My bad, it's happening January 30th to February 1st. So put it on your calendars. It's played in memory of Ryder and Radek. This event goes beyond the scoreboard. It's about community sportsmanship, love of the game, a chance for young athletes to showcase their skills with their families in attendance. So again, check it out. There's some info in there. There's going to be a raffle. There's going to be an online 50-50 on top of that. So again, it's coming up starting on the 29th out at the Silent Ice Center, which is a great facility as well. If you haven't been to that Silent Ice Arena, you should just go and check that out and then support the story. But yeah, the link is in the YouTube chat if people want to learn more about that. Game day today for the Edmonton Oilers. They're taking on the Predators, 6 p.m. puck drop. Should we do our Bet365 game day betting challenge?
Let's do
Brought
it.
to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. I am hotter than a firecracker, Liam. Another win for me. Keeps pushing me up the standings. Plus 8 units. Why did you send it as... What did you... Confidential?
I wanted to test it out.
Oh, I thought you were like going to change my picture to something embarrassing or whatever.
No updates on the pitches. But yeah, I got this new feature on my Gmail. I wanted to see what happened.
Okay.
Clearly, it's not that confidential.
You missed. Did Jay win last game or did he miss?
No, Jay had the over.
Oh, yeah, he had the over. So I nailed mine. I'm plus 8 units now on the year. Here's what I got for tonight's hockey game. Keeping it simple. I think the Oilers win tonight and Jari's return to the crease. I think Dad's trip, they'll have some extra juice going into this one. Leon, 2 points. He always kills the Predators. Connor, 2 points. He is red hot right now. No way he doesn't get involved in more offense. Plus 220. I think this is a pretty straightforward one. Liam, what do you got?
I went simpler. The Nuge night. Nuge, 1.5 shots. Nuge point plus 140.
All right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, 2 shots, a point.
Yeah.
Could see all that.
I could see it too. I'm hoping.
What did Jay do?
I don't know. Puck line, Liam, 3 points, plus 500. I mean, they are playing Nashville. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair one. But yeah, we've all been doing a little bit better recently, which is good. The fact 2 of us are out of the negatives now is, I think, just good for the whole vibe of this segment. That we can't be giving our betting advice and we're all there like minus 10 units.
Like me on DFO.
I said it. I realized.
Yeah. Thanks, Liam.
So that's good. Are you reading the chat?
No, what are they talking about?
You got this Gong Show fella.
Gong Show's being a gong show,
He
right?
was just stirring
this
things
moron.
up. But the first comment that ignited it all was him saying, let me see here, you take out Draisaitl and McDavid scoring contributions out of the lineup and you have got a lottery team and they're in the middle of the league standings as it is. Well, yep, when you take out, what's that be, 26.5 million out of your lineup and don't replace it with anybody. Yeah, man, like no kidding. He goes on to say, if you just neutralize McDavid and Draisaitl in the playoffs, then the Oilers won't win.
Kind of like when you neutralize Marner and Matthews in the playoffs.
Very similar.
Okay, wait. Have McDavid and Draisaitl been neutralized?
Not together.
Yeah, okay. Have Matthews and Marner been neutralized in the playoffs?
Often, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
I mean,
probably doesn't
the
work
idea,
well towards his point.
correct. If those two guys aren't playing well, the Oilers will probably lose.
I wonder if the Leafs, he's talking about, Mangiapane and Frederick not working. I wonder if the Leafs have any underperforming players on their roster. Probably not.
I don't know.
Picks did they give up for Scott Lawton?
Oh, yeah.
Lots.
I just don't get those comments. Like, yeah, man, like, no kidding. If Batman and Robin don't show up to the Batman movie, then it ain't a Batman movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a good line.
Where's the big, feisty, expensive third-line center that the team desperately needs coming from?
I don't know.
Well, Columbus is an option.
The fucking trade market? Like, where else would it come from?
Yesterday, Dave Pagnotta mentioned Braden Shen as a St. Louis. Robert Thomas, I don't think the others could get him, but he's high on some trade boards.
Where's the 100-point replacement for Mitch Marner coming from?
Yeah, I just don't really get it. Is this guy a Leafs fan?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. What am I doing?
Exactly. Let's wrap up the show. Quick little what's trending. The New York Mets apparently offering Kyle Tucker $50 million a year.
What would the Blue Jays offer him?
So the Mets are apparently going $50 million short-term deals, like a 2-year deal at $50 million. Mm-hmm. The Leafs have been trending more towards a 10-year, $300 million offer.
Oh,
so
interesting.
It might come down to whether or not Kyle Tucker wants to take a 2-year, $100 million deal and then try to make $200 million over the final 8 years of his deal. Crazy things to say. Or if he just wants $300 million guaranteed from the Blue Jays and wants to actually win instead of going to the Mets.
Yeah, the Mets seem to get the best player every year and then never make the playoffs. Is that kind of what happens?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend for Kyle. Because you don't want to miss out. They were in on Bregman too, right? The Blue Jays?
Yeah, I think that. I don't think super seriously, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully the Blue Jays can get this going. The spring training starts relatively soon, no?
Yeah. Pitchers and catchers report in, I think, 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Wow. That comes
Pretty
around
crazy.
quick, doesn't it?
Gong Show, without a third-line center that can make a difference, defend, and push secondary scoring, this team ain't going on a lengthy playoff run. You mean like when they went on back-to-back lengthy playoff runs with basically the same roster?
I mean,
okay.
They need a third-line center. We agree.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're looking for here. Most teams in the NHL need a third-line center to go on deep playoff runs.
Yeah, most teams who are good teams, they add at the deadline.
Yeah, and the Oilers will. The Oilers will add at the deadline. I don't know if I love the Luke Shen idea that Pagnotta was talking about yesterday, but I do understand it. But I think the Oilers are just past that motion of let's get big guys. They're just looking at trying to get guys to push it up the ice. And I don't think Shen does that. Maybe Stanley does that a little bit better, but I don't think he's that good either.
Also, the LA Kings today, just on the note of coaching, they canceled their practice today.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they asked after the game, they lost again. And Jim Hiller was asked, you've only won however many. They've lost 11 of 16. And Jim Hiller says, quote, "We're playing well." To which Dave Pagnotta replies, "The Kings are 29th in goals for, averaging 2.6 goals per game, ahead of only the Rangers, Flames, and Blues. It's no bueno."
Somehow the Oilers lost.
All right. That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Aaron's going live pre and post game. We got a new episode of Oilers Nation Radio dropping in a little bit as well. Enjoy your Tuesday, everybody. We will see you all right back here tomorrow. Noon Mountain.
I'll be here.
I'll be here too. Oil up.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.